Have you ever been playing Genshin, enjoying the scenery, and just smelling the roses with your favorite 5 stars on the field, and then you take one step back, only to realize what you're looking at doesn't even make sense?
Huh?
Okay, in order to understand this deep issue of why Genshin's UI is pretty bad, we have to start from the top. And the first question is, why even is UI? Well, that's just a fancy way of saying user interface. And that's just a fancy way of saying the main menu, the buttons, the screen, you know, all that stuff. It just means how the user, you, are able to use the software, Genshin. Done. Simple, kind of. Okay, now that that's out of the way, let's take a look at how this all starts. When we boot up the game, Genshin, we are greeted to such a clean and sleek title screen. You're just in the sky and there's the sign saying continue. It's so clean and minimalistic. There's no way you can go wrong. The white and blue aesthetic in the clouds, it just invites you. It gets you hyped up to jump back in the game. It actually makes you excited to open the game and start grinding for promos and artifacts. Then you press a button, the doors open, and you're greeted to a white loading screen with all the elements in the game slowly firing up. That just builds even more hype because then you realize, look at all the elements. Pyro, Cryo, Anemo, Geo. What's the grass one again? What's the grass one? Dendro, Electro, Hydro. I think I said all of them. And then bam, you're in the game. Once all the elements have been filled up. And then, wait, what is this? It's just a cluttered mess of buttons everywhere. Like, everywhere I look, it's just a mess. Okay, so there's the mini-map in the top left corner. Sure, that's a necessary evil in this situation. It has to be there, so that you can navigate. That makes sense, okay? Can't really complain with that. But if you just tilt your gaze to the top right, there's a whole mess of different icons and buttons, each taking you to different menus and different options. Why is that there? There's no need for this. Genshin isn't a complex MMO where there's 50 million events going on and 50 other players running around at every given moment. No, it's just a single player RPG for the most part, unless you decide to open the menu and open your world to co-op. But that's a whole other issue for another day. Back to the main issue at hand. But yeah, Genshin doesn't need to overcomplicate everything. And then when you hit the escape key to get to the main menu and try to escape the cluttered mess of the UI, that is when you're playing the game. You see what I did there? I said escape twice. I'm so smart. You're just hit by an even bigger mess of cluttered UI and icons and buttons. I don't even know if I'm using the word UI right here, but you know what? Who knows? Okay, now that that's out of the way, let's start dissecting what is even wrong with Genshin's UI in the first place, and what are my professional opinions on how to fix it, and also fix my life in the process. Because at this point, Genshin's my life. Let's be honest at this point. Okay, so at the top left, you can see you have your player ID, UID, world level, adventure rank, even your birthdays at the top left for some reason. You know, in case you forgot it. Think about it, that's only at the top left of the screen. That is a lot, and we've only opened the menu. In my professional opinion, to fix this, I'd say limit the top screen to only have your adventure rank and UID and username. You don't need your birthday in there or the world level, because world level, that's basically scales with your adventure rank, if I'm correct. You're welcome. However, one plus side I need to give to Genshin is the fact that they have this neat little copy button under your UID, and that saves you from the immense effort of having to copy it out number by number, and you don't need to type out the whole thing when you want to play with your friends, but I don't have any of those. So well played, Genshin, very cool. Underneath all of that is a cluster of buttons, ranging from your inventory to character screen. Pretty important stuff in an RPG, but why are things like feedback and survey here too? Surely there's a better place to put these things. I'd say to fix it, Genshin needs to trim it down a lot. Like, we don't need all of these options, because I'm gonna be honest, I don't use any of them, apart from the character screen, shop, wish, and party setup. That's just 4 options out of the 20 that are already there. So clearly, well, we don't really need the other 16, do we? So in my honest opinion, they should just get out. Get rid of them. There's no need. They serve no purpose. And then bam, it just lets it have a more sleeker design. So yeah, let's get rid of the other 16, and then we can also give other icons more screen space, like options. Why is that relegated to such a lonely spot in the corner, sitting right next to the time and exit game icon? Like, surely the options menu is way more important than changing the time in Genshin. And on that note, can we take a moment to appreciate, wait, nope, that's the wrong word. Because this feature literally serves zero purpose. It can literally be taken out and then guarantee no one will notice. And that is the clock icon that is right next to the options button. The clock is literally only used in Quest when you have to like meet someone at a certain time of day just for immersive purposes. But even then, you just get to the location and you switch the time manually. It's just kind of useless. It serves no purpose because there's no enemy specific spawns that like, let's say nighttime or daytime. There's no different loot or anything. It's the same. I guess the one use for that is if you want to get the perfect picture and you need a certain time of day for that, then sure, maybe it is useful, but as a solution, why not have the time option inside the camera menu? So you won't have to awkwardly fiddle between two menus at once just to change the time of day for it to be sunset while you have your character at the center of the screen. You know, that just makes life easier, rather than having to fumble between two menus every 2 seconds. Back to the main topic at hand. Genshin does a pretty good job of keeping the center of the screen empty during gameplay, so you can focus on the action, while relegating the less important options to the top right corner. But in my opinion, there's no need of that. Because if you really needed to go to those menus, Genshin has this wheel that just pops up with the press of a button. I think it's tab. Yeah, that by pressing tab, it shows up literally everything. Inventory, character screen, wishing, literally everything, the map. So yeah, we really don't need all those icons at the top right because you just hold tab and then bam, they're there. Easy. Way quicker access than having to hold alt and slowly drag your mouse to the top right of the screen and click on it. Wow, crazy. And yeah, bam. By just removing those at the top right, game already looks a lot cleaner because those options are accessible literally everywhere else. Also, another issue, another complaint. All I do is complain, but Genshin has this really annoying habit where after a certain amount of time, the game decides to place red exclamation marks on everything, despite the fact there's literally not much that changes in the menu. And then because of that, due to your crippling OCD, you are obligated to get rid of all these red marks by clicking on all of these options in order to satisfy your brain and get inner peace. If I was in charge of Genshin, I'd do everyone a favor and just get rid of these exclamation marks. Because even when nothing changes in this game, let's say if I just don't log into Genshin for like a week, all those thingies pop up but nothing changes. Sure, the battle pass changes, maybe, but my character screen doesn't change, my inventory doesn't change, so why are they there? They just exist to drive me crazy, if I'm being honest with you. Like, okay, sure the activity log changes, but on that note, does anyone even bother reading the Genshin notice board? Because I'm gonna be real, I ain't reading all that. Genshin isn't a deep PvP esport game that needs to be balanced or fixed every other week. But with the amount of times they update the log and how much updates they give to this game, you'd think that was the case. To fix this, I'd just get rid of it entirely. And for those very few people who actually want to read it, just leave it on the Genshin website, because those people will go the extra mile to read it. And don't just shove it in the game and make the rest of us feel dumb for just clicking on it and immediately leaving, because too many letters hurt my caveman brain, if I'm being honest with you. I can't be bothered to read it, and that just makes me feel bad. Am I overthinking it? I don't know. But bam, you're welcome. Genshin's UI has been fixed.